So should we begin with our half a minute of silence to invite the divine into the speaking, into the hearing, into the understanding? We invite the divine into this session. Okay, dear students, faculty, friends, this is the last of the series of 4 sessions that we were supposed to have. The first session we had on the most important question, a question that Ramana Maharishi used to ask every disciple who came to him, who am I? And we came to the decision that I am the soul. I can call it the Ruh, I can call it the Atma, I can call it the soul, I can call it by whatever name we want. But it is a presence. It is that in us which was in our last life, which is in this life, and which will continue into the lives after this life. So that which continues, that which was, is, and will continue is who I really am. In the second session, we discussed the method by which this outer being can connect with this inmost being. And we took verses from the Bhagavad Gita, what Sri Krishna has said so lucidly. Yad juhoshi dadasi yad, yad karishyasi kaunteya, tat kurushvame arpanam. We learnt about arpanam. We learnt about connecting at every moment. Whether I'm drinking a glass of water, I'm having my food, I'm going to sleep, I'm discussing something with my child or my teacher or my parent, or I'm having an argument with my spouse. Whatever I'm doing, I invite the divine, I invite the soul within into that which I'm doing, and I madarpanam. I do an arpan of that so that I'm able to bring the perfect which is in my inmost being outside into my outer being at every moment. And this is what Sri Krishna has said so clearly in the Bhagavad Gita. In the third session, we discussed what is really, or what ought to be really, the aim of life. And we came to the decision that the aim of life is to become that perfect instrument through which the divine will can manifest itself without any corruption. See, if you're pouring a glass of milk through a sieve, एक छलनी के थ्रू आप दूध डाल रहे हैं और वो छलनी गंदी है, उसमें थोड़ी मिट्टी लगी हुई है, वो दूध क्या होएगा? वो भी छन की गंदा निकलने लगेगा. So the instrument has to be purified. The instrument has to be perfected. And we found out so many ways and means by which we can perfect this instrument. We talked about aspiration. We talked about rejection. We talked about offering and many other ways. Today, we are going to discuss, because Megha ma'am said that please let us talk about meditation. So today we are going to talk about these two important concepts, meditation and concentration, and understand what is the difference between the two in the light of Sri Aurobindo. So let me start with a story. Once, Adi Shankaracharya ji was going through a village and he saw an unread villager who had come to him the last evening. He saw that unread villager looking through the Bhagavad Gita very intently. Very intently he was looking at the Bhagavad Gita as if he's reading it. And then he would turn the page and again with great intent he would be as if he's reading it. And Adi Shankara thought to himself that he doesn't know how to read. What is he doing so intently looking at the Gita and turning page by page? So he went and asked the villager. And you know what the villager said? The villager said, on every page, I see a huge white chariot. A huge white chariot with 7 white horses. and Sri Krishna sitting on it. And I'm mesmerized with this sight. I'm completely mesmerized. And Adi Shankara said to him, "You know what? I thought I need to teach you, but now I realize that I need to sit with you and learn from you. Please give me that vision that you have, that every page of the Bhagavad Gita is revealing to you Sri Krishna himself on his chariot." My dear students, to meditate or to concentrate, one doesn't need at all to be well read, to be very brilliant. What one really needs is an intensity of aspiration. हमारे अंदर एक अभीप्सा होनी चाहिए. Abhipsa, burning aspiration to meet the divine, to connect with the divine. The problem is that we have been programmed or built with so many openings which are open to the outer world. And these openings, like the sense of sight, the sense of smell, the sense of hearing, sense of taste, the sense of touch, and others, these openings keep us very engrossed in the outer world. Paranchi khani vyatrinat swayambhu tasmat parang pashyati na antaratman. The Kathopanishad says that the self-existent means the divine himself, the Sat. He who is self-existent, he has created the senses with outgoing tendencies. And because of that, we see the external world and we do not see the inner Atman. We do not see the soul. We do not see the self. But together with that, the Mundaka Upanishad says, Nayamatma pravachanena labhyo na medhayana bahuna shrutena yame vaisha vrinute tena labhyas tasyaisha atma vivrinute tanum swam. So the Mundaka Upanishad says, neither can the soul be realized by attending many discourses, nor by intellectual prowess, nor by reading and listening to Vedic scriptures alone. The soul will reveal itself only to the one who has a focused, single-pointed aspiration to experience the soul and to realize the soul. Right? You would like to think about this for just 10 seconds? Just think about it. How burning is my aspiration to see God, to connect with God. So what we need to build within us is an aspiration like Mirabai had, an intensity like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had, an intensity like Sri Aurobindo had, to meet God. Not only to meet God, but to keep a permanent connection with Him. Whatever I'm doing, I'm connected to Him. And not only am I connected with Him, but I want to bring Him down into my very nature. And I want to transform my nature from the imperfect to the perfect. Because that's a verse that we said in the aim of life. What was it? What has Sri Krishna said to Arjuna? He said, Mad bhavam agata, become my natured. So until that work is done, we are still traversing the journey, the spiritual journey of becoming that perfect instrument. And for that, we need to increase the intensity of our being. Like Mirabai said, Divasana bhuka neend nahi chena, mukh sukhe aave nahi chena. That she said, ना भूख लगती है ना नींद आती है, बस मुझे तुम चाहिए कृष्णा, बस तुम चाहिए. Let me tell you another story. Once, a disciple asked Sri Ramakrishna Paramhans. He said, I am doing so much effort, but I am not able to experience the divine. So, what should I do? And you know what Sri Ramakrishna Paramhans said? He said, come, let's go to the Ganges for a bath. So he took him to the river, Ganges. And the disciple was very excited. He said, wow, once he purifies me in river Ganges, then he will give me that mantra which will do magic. There's no magic. So he went inside and took a dip. And when he was taking a dip, Sri Ramakrishna Paramhans put his hand on his head and pushed him into the water. Now the disciple started gasping for breath. He was gasping for breath, trying his hardest to pull himself out. Then Sri Ramakrishna Paramhans let go of his thrust. And when the disciple came out of the water, Sri Ramakrishna Paramhans asked him, he told him, he said, when your aspiration to connect with God will have the same intensity as your need to breathe when you were under the water, when that will be your aspiration, then you will be able to connect with God. So now, this is the importance of aspiration in the process of meditation or concentration, whichever one we are following. Today, we are going to discuss the difference between meditation and concentration in the light of Sri Aurobindo. How are these two different from each other? Let us first try and understand these two concepts. But before we enter into it, let us understand the prerequisites, some prerequisites in the initial stage of sadhana. These are prerequisites. Later on, these are also not needed. First of all, we must fix a time and a space, a particular space where we meditate every day, fixed. When we do meditation, following this discipline of time and space, the same time, and if possible, the same space, unless we are traveling, then the whole universe, Sari Srishti, comes to help us to meditate at that particular time. This is what the Srishti does when we do our bit. After having followed this discipline for a few months, if one day you've overslept and you're not getting up at that time, or you're not doing meditation at that particular time, you will experience there's a kind of a reminder that comes from within. Your clock doesn't have to buzz at that time. There will be some tingling in the hands, or there will be some kind. The Srishti, the divine himself, will send you the reminder that उठो जागो, अब ये time तुम्हारा meditation का है या concentration, whichever you are following. It is best to fix, I mean, this is a suggestion, there are no hard rules. It is best to fix 20 minutes 3 times a day. If you cannot pull out 20 minutes, you can make it 15 minutes 3 times a day. Now, during those 15 minutes, suppose आपका ध्यान नहीं लगा, you were not able to meditate and your thoughts were going all over the place. But still, it's a discipline. So those 15 minutes, we will sit and we will make an effort to meditate or to concentrate. Now, if you've decided 15 minutes or 20 minutes, and agar dhyan lag gaya, then we don't need to come out. If we have time, we don't feel like coming out. It becomes so intense for us. And we can remain in that position, in that experience, as long as we are meditative and concentrated. In the beginning stages of sadhana, stillness of the body, solitude, and seclusion at the time of meditation and concentration are prerequisites, but only in the beginning stages of sadhana. Almost necessary for us beginners, but one must not be bound by external conditions. Once the habit of meditation or concentration is formed, one is able to meditate or concentrate in all circumstances. Then one doesn't need to sit in stillness. One will be able to meditate while one is lying down, while one is sitting, while one is walking alone, even while one is in company, in silence, or in the midst of noise. See, Anybody can meditate on quiet mountaintops. Through regular practice, we must aspire to reach a stage where we are able to meditate or even concentrate even on the railway station. Now, in the light of Sri Aurobindo, let us understand the difference between meditation and concentration. What is meditation? What is meditation? Meditation, my dear students, is a process leading towards knowledge. It is a thing of the head. It is a process of thought, while concentration is a process of silence. It is a call from us to the divine. I'm repeating myself. Meditation is a process which is leading towards knowledge. It is a thing of the head. And it is a very good precursor to concentration because we are concentrating on a thought. In contrast, what is concentration? Concentration is a process of silence. It is a silent call from us to the divine. My teacher Kirit uncle used to say, please continue to keep the slide. My teacher Kirit uncle used to say that meditation is to focus on a thought. And we will do that. We will go through a few examples of the thoughts that we can focus on when we try to meditate. Meditation is to focus on a thought and let that thought grow in our consciousness. We can stop the slide for a moment. See, the mind is like a machine. It needs to be on all the time. All the time. It needs to think all the time. It has its own internal dialogue which goes on and on and on and on. It is like a monkey which needs to continuously dance. Now, trying to silence a dancing monkey is a tough thing. But if we give the monkey a homework which can make it dance, but it will dance to a particular tune, then the monkey will be able to focus because we need to make the mind focus. So, what Sri Aurobindo says, we need meditation is the process by which we give the mind a thought that the mind has to develop. It has to work on that thought so that it is focusing on that thought. That is called meditation. It's not so easy to silence the mind. It is easier to give the mind a thought and allow the mind to develop that thought, to work on the thought. There could be several thoughts. We will give examples of 3 thoughts. Let's go to slide 6, ma'am. The thought could be, what is the divine? Who is the divine? Where is he? And now one can think about it. The divine is in the trees. The divine is in the air I'm breathing. The divine is on the divine has become this table that I'm putting my hands on. The divine has become me, my outer imperfect being. The divine is me, my inmost being, which is so perfect. So one can develop this thought and develop this thought and develop this thought. Let us develop this thought and practice to be in that stage of meditation, developing just the thought, who is the divine, for 1 minute. Another thought that we could, these are just examples. Slide 7. We could develop the thought, what is divine love? How does the divine love me? He loves me through the air we breathe. He loves me through the food he gives to me. He loves me in so many ways. Now let us try and develop this thought for 1 minute. How does the divine love me? What is divine love? Focus your attention. Answer this question. What is divine love? Let's begin. the mother used to say that imagine you're standing next to a bronze door and you're praying to the divine who is on the other side of the door to open it. You're just praying कि दरवाजा खोलो, मैं अरदास लगा रही हूँ, दरवाजा खोलो. Let me, मेरी मेरी नजरें आप पर पड़े, आपके चरणों के दर्शन करें, आपको प्रणाम करें और फिर कभी नहीं छोड़ेंगे आपको. Yeah? Now let us meditate on this thought for 1 minute. Thank you, Mona ma'am. This was meditation. To develop a thought and bring it to that point for however long you can pull that point. There will be times when the mind will go off to other thoughts to bring it back. This is what a discipline is. When we go on disciplining ourselves at a fixed time, for a fixed amount of time, at a fixed pace, then slowly and steadily the mind learns to focus on that particular thought. Until one is able to focus on one thought, one will not be able to silence the mind, because the mind has a habit of running away to other thoughts. This was meditation. Now the difference between meditation and concentration. What is concentration? Dear students, there are many points. What is concentration? Concentration is basically to silence our mind, and while silencing our mind, we focus on a space. And Sri Aurobindo has suggested 3 points on which we can concentrate on. See, first let us discuss the space around the head. It's around the head, in the head, or even the space around the head. Some people prefer to concentrate in the Ajna Chakra, between the eyebrows, but that is neither necessary nor is it compulsory. The entire head may be focused upon. And this concentration in and around the head can bring about the silence of the surface mind. There is a surface mind from which we are working in everyday routine affairs. And there is an inner, larger, deeper, vaster mind. Now, when we start concentrating in and around the head, then slowly and steadily, a kind of a silence starts happening in the surface mind. And this can lead to the opening of the surface mind to the inner, larger, deeper mind within, which is more capable of receiving spiritual experience and spiritual knowledge. This is silencing and focusing on the inside the head and around the head. Now, let us we can concentrate on in this for some time. Let's do it for 30 seconds, although it's not so easy to silence, but let us just try to practice concentrating in the space in the head and around the head for 30 seconds. I know the time was very short. There is the space which is much above the head. The concentration of consciousness in the head that we did just now is only a preparation for the concentration to rise to the center above the head. Or else, what will happen? One may get shut up in one's own mind and its experiences, and one may never rise above into the spiritual transcendence. You see? So, it is very necessary that we use the concentration in the head as a means to be able to rise one day to the space above the head. Sri Aurobindo has talked very clearly about the different levels of mind that are there. They have been referred to in the Vedas as the seven rivers: Mahati, Saraswati, Sarama. I don't offhand remember the seven rivers. Actually, five have been mentioned, although the Vedas say there are seven rivers. And why they are called rivers is there is a flow. There is a flow of consciousness. Why they are called rivers in the Vedas is because there is a flow, a river flows. So there is a flow of the higher consciousness into the mind. And so they've been called rivers. I wish I had pulled out those. You earlier used to remember those five names: Mahati, Saraswati, Sarma. I don't remember. But Sri Aurobindo has given the same rivers the names of different levels of mind. He says there is the mind, higher mind, illumined mind, intuitive mind, overmind. And on over the overmind, there is a lid, which has been called in the Isha Upanishad as the Hiranmayena Patra. Hiranmayena Patrena Satyasya Pihita Mukham. That golden lid which which blocks the Sat, the truth, from entering into us. Hiranmayena Patrena Satyasya Apihita Mukham. Tattvam Pushan Apavrinu Satya Dharmaya Drishtaye. O Ish, tear that golden lid so that the truth may flow into me. So he's talked about the mind, higher mind, illumined mind, intuitive mind, overmind, and beyond the lid is the supermind. Now, coming back to the topic, once concentration becomes spontaneous in and around the head, one starts feeling the consciousness rising upwards. One starts feeling the consciousness rising upwards beyond the lid. Which lid? Beyond the lid of the lower mind, beyond the lid where we've been trapped in our surface mind. It goes beyond that lid, which has kept it tied into the body. And once concentration becomes stable in and around the head, then one is able to find the center above the head, which from where one gets liberated into the experience of the infinite. One may concentrate on the presence of the divine stationed above the head. You may concentrate that this is the space higher than the head. Let us just try to do it if it's possible for just 30 seconds. Yes? See, it is not necessary that when this lid will open, then we will concentrate on the station above the head. One can do both simultaneously or sometimes move from the upper to the lower, depending on your readiness, right? Now, the best center to concentrate on. Our heart is the best center for concentration. Our heart is the best center for concentration. Why? Because our psychic being, or Atma, or soul, or Ruh, call it what you may, is residing there. It is stationed there. And it is stationed there behind a closed door. What we need to do is have a burning intensity, burning aspiration that this door opens from within. and we become aware of this psychic being, this flame within, the soul, the psychic being, the Atma, the Ruh, the divine element within us. That has to be our aspiration when we are concentrating on the heart center. It is as if this flame is within a cave and we are concentrating on the light within that cave. And when the soul gets unveiled, it starts coming forward. It starts governing our nature. This is what Sri Aurobindo calls the psychic transformation. When the psychic being inside us becomes so strong and it starts coming forward, it governs our nature. And to turn to it, we turn to it to bring it into all the movements. All the movements, our outer movements, start turning towards the divine. And what we do is we call it down, call it out, and ask it to transform our nature. Now, when the real proof that we are really getting the psychic transformation is really happening, is that we will start noticing a change, a transformation in our own nature. So let us concentrate on the light of the soul for 30 seconds. See, the aim of this whole thing is we don't even need to close our eyes. There will come a point in our lives when, with open eyes, while we are talking outside, there is always, always, always a remembrance, a rooting in the soul. It's as if we are not speaking from the mind. We are speaking directly from the soul. We are rooted there. We are stationed there. And it is from there that our outer communication proceeds. That is the aim of our life. So, today I'd like to share with you some lines from Savitri, the epic poem written by Sri Aurobindo, which have greatly helped me to meditate. I would like to share these lines with you. So, what we'll do is first we'll read these lines. We will try and understand them. If anybody has a question, you can ask me, students, and then we will meditate or concentrate on them. First, I will read them out a couple of times, and then in silence, we will meditate on these lines. They've helped me greatly, so I thought that when we are doing a session on meditation and concentration, why not share that which has helped me so much? In moments when the inner lamps are lit, in moments when the inner lamps are lit, and the life's cherished guests are left outside, our spirit sits alone and speaks to its gulfs. In moments when the inner lamps are lit and the life's cherished guests are left outside, our spirit sits alone and speaks to its gulfs. A wider consciousness opens then its doors. A wider consciousness opens then its doors, invading from spiritual silences, invading from spiritual silences. A ray of the timeless glory stoops a while to commune with our seized illumined clay and leaves its huge white stamp upon our lives. In moments when the inner lamps are lit and the life's cherished guests are left outside. Our spirit sits alone and speaks to its gulfs. A wider consciousness opens then its doors, invading from spiritual silences. A ray of the timeless glory stoops a while to commune with our seized illumined clay and leaves its huge white stamp upon our lives. In moments when the inner lamps are lit and the life's cherished guests are left outside, our spirit sits alone and speaks to its gulfs. A wider consciousness opens then its doors, invading from spiritual silences. A ray of the timeless glory stoops a while to commune with our seized illumined clay and leaves its huge white stamp upon our lives. Savitri, Book 1, Canto 4, page 47, 48. The Secret Knowledge. My dear students, we have some 10, 12 minutes, maybe half an hour to answer any questions that you have which have emerged inside of you in the last three and today's session, four sessions.
It is said that manifestation is very powerful. If we manifest negative thoughts all the time, then uh, negative things will happen. So, can you please tell or throw some light on manifestation?
Yeah, because see, we are a part of the universe. As we discussed in the second session, that I and the universe are not separate. There is actually one physical. There's only one matter. It's only the different, and we talked about it. We gave you the scientific reference that Einstein gave. E is equal to mc square. Energy transforms into matter. Matter can transform into energy. So wherever there is a lesser consciousness that seems to be different from me, for instance, the table, it seems as if the table is different from me, but the matter is the same because of its lesser consciousness. Less, if it is evolved less, it is the same matter, but it is manifesting itself differently. So when we Whatever I manifest, whatever I think, whatever I speak, whatever I do, I add that to the universal consciousness. There is one universal matter, there is one universal vital emotional, or the one prana, and there is one mind. And we are part of that. So, whatever we say or do, we actually influence the universe like that. In Jaipuria school, we do a project called Raising Universal Consciousness. In that, the students of a particular grade are supposed to pick up Indian personalities who have raised universal consciousness. Whenever I say a negative thought, the universe hears it and it gives it back to me, because that's what the universe has. So, similarly, every time I say a positive thought, or I think a positive thought, or I do a positive action, we raise the universal consciousness. And so many people get affected by it, even if they've not heard me, even if they've not seen me do the act. I've added to the positivity of the universal consciousness. You've heard of Arunima Sinha. She lost one leg when she was thrown out of the train by some miscreants. She decided, I'm not going to be pitying myself. She got a prosthetic limb, and with that prosthetic limb, artificial limb, she decided, I'm going to climb Mount Everest. She did it. Then she decided, I'm going to climb many, many, many other mountains. In all the continents, I will climb one mountain. She did it. All that is left for her to climb now are Arctic and Antarctica, mountains there. What did she do? She raised the universal consciousness, the heroism in the universal consciousness. Just her act raised the universal consciousness. Such is the effect of the power of speech, the power of thought, the power of action. So powerful our thought is. We don't understand it. It's so easy to sit down and just say something negative. Say about your own health. Every time you say something negative about your own health, the universe is listening to it. What is the world going to give you? Some sympathy? Will it help? Will it raise your health? No. But by speaking about it, you've told the universe about it. And the universe is going to give it back to you, because that's what the universe has heard. Sometime you should read the book by Swami Shivanand. It's called The Power of Thought. Or read the two books by Rhonda Byrne, The Secret and The Magic. The Secret, you can even see that short movie, but you need to see it again and again and again and again to understand the power that your thoughts have. Yeah? I don't know if I've answered your question.
Yes, ma'am, definitely. Pratiksha is saying that I want to know that how can we have positivity inside us, because I am an overthinker person and I always have fear that something bad is going to happen. So how may I improve this to be positive?
So, Pratiksha, Sri Aurobindo says that fear is the worst emotion that you can harbor in your being. Fear is the worst, because you attract all that you fear. I fear some disease, you're attracting the disease, inviting the disease into you. I fear that I will not fare well in the examination. You will definitely not fare well in the examination, because you've attracted that, right? First of all, we must understand the consequence of fear. Then, what had we learned in session 2? If I have fear, what do I do with fear? Were you there for session 2?
Yes, ma'am.
What do? We put the fear in our Anjali and we offer it. We offer it to the divine and say, please offer it to the divine. Sit down in meditation, and in your meditation, you take your fear and continuously offer it to the divine and aspire to transform it. Ask the divine to transform it. The divine will take no time if the aspiration is true. All we need to do is have an aspiration to get rid of it. And the more we connect with the soul, the more we connect with our inmost being, the more positivity will start flowing out of your being. It would be very nice if you take a diary and start writing letters. And in the letters, as you keep putting your fears down, your writing will change, your method of writing will start changing. Because you will, when you read yourself, you will yourself want to transform the way you're thinking. And especially when your letters are written to the divine. For many years in 1990, I started writing to the divine. And I can't tell you how he answers. He has his own method. And those diaries are personal between me and him. So they will be personal between you and God. Write to him, write to him. You can't believe how he answers. Our outer life is tailor made, it's carved out for the growth that we need to do in our life. So it is, we cannot crib. Every difficulty, every problem, every circumstance has come specifically for us to be able to transform something in us. So when we have a specific problem and we write to the divine and say, you know what, I'm finding it difficult to handle this situation, but I'm accepting it because I know there's something that I need to learn from it. Can you please tell me what I need to learn from it? Can you please help me to grow in that direction? So then the circumstance will change. It is only there as long as we've not learned the lesson that it has come to teach us. And again, I remind you of what we have said in all the 3 sessions. God does not punish. This whole theory of karma is warped. When people say, "Arey, apne karm to bhogega." What rubbish. God is not an ordinary parent. He's not an ordinary teacher. हमने गलती करी तो हमको एक झापड़ मारेंगे या he will punish us. No. If God has to be described in one word, that one word would be love. Love. God only loves us. The circumstances that come to us, he gives us as an opportunity to be able to carve ourselves into that perfect being, which is the aim of our life. Right? Pratiksha, I hope your question has been answered.
Yes, ma'am. What is the difference between meditation and mindfulness?
What is the difference between meditation and
Mindfulness.
mindfulness? Mindfulness we can understand as an awareness. You know, हम लोग हमेशा बचपन से सबको बोलते आ रहे हैं, इंडिया में तो सुनते आ रहे हैं ध्यान से करना. इसको तुम कर रहे हो ना, इसको जरा ध्यान से करना. What is that ध्यान से करना? There are people who are always doing things carelessly. They make careless mistakes. We also do that. Why? Because we were not mindful of whatever work we were doing, right? So that mindfulness is having an awareness, being conscious of whatever work I'm doing, bringing my entire focus on the work that I'm doing. That is mindfulness, being mindful of what we are doing. Meditation is different. When we focus on one thought and we develop that thought, like the 3 thoughts that we had experienced. And concentration is when we are able to silence our mind and concentrate on a space, right? All right, Karvit?
Yes, ma'am.
Clear?
Yes, ma'am. Clear.
I do not know how to frame my question, ma'am.
That doesn't matter. Try.
Sometimes, we yearn for somebody's attention, whom we love a lot, but maybe that person doesn't care much for us, and that keeps affecting us. Despite that, we understand that there is super consciousness. Uh, we can spread love, but that one or two people, they might affect our entire thought process. How do we control that? Like, I don't know, how do we handle that emotion?
So that's the way we've been programmed in our life, that from childhood we have not been taught how to connect with the divine. It's not been part of our school education. So what we've learned is all what our Britishers taught us through our education, and that is a commercial kind of an education. Everything is about my happiness. How do I get happiness? And there are obviously some relationships which are very important for us. But if those relationships are not working out, it just means that the divine is giving us a circumstance in which there is an opportunity to be able to grow to a relationship which is which is eternally fulfilling, which is infinitely fulfilling, which has no possibility of giving sorrow, which has no possibility of viched, which has no possibility of separation. So if the divine is giving me that opportunity to connect with him, and this person or human being or my boss or a sibling or anybody with whom the relationship is not working out, we always have that, what we did in session 2. You always have the methodology to connect with the divine. Connect with him and ask him how to take this relationship forward. And in the process of again and again connecting with the divine, writing to him, maybe talking to him in our meditation, fixed times of meditation. Then we talk to him and talk to him and talk to him. Then we start seeing कि यहाँ से तो permanent आनंद मिल रहा है, and we will get directions. But don't let the mind get into a groove, because those groove में there is only pain. There's no point subjecting ourselves to pain. When the आनंद का स्रोत हमारे अंदर है, स्रोत हमारे अंदर है, और वो खाली हमारे अंदर नहीं है. Who am I? Our first session. I am that तत्त्वमसि, अहम ब्रह्मास्मि. When I am that, और वो हमारे ही भीतर है. कस्तूरी कुंडल बसे मृग ढूंढे वन माही. उसके कस्तूरी मृग के कुंडल के अंदर, उसके नेवल के अंदर है, सब जगह ढूंढ रहा है. ऐसे घटी घटी राम है, दुनिया देखत नहीं. He is right here inside us, and we have seen it in our session 3 that he is Ananda. Anandi to chahiye, right?
It's very difficult to come out of the inner silence that we've just experienced, ma'am.
That's so beautiful, Manisha, ma'am.
Ma'am, actually, at times when we experience a lot of beautiful bliss, and then when we go out, after some time, we tend to forget. I like, allow me to use an analogy, ma'am, that our cameras have got two sides of, our mobiles have got two sides of the camera. When we take selfie, we turn the camera towards ourselves, and when we click the photograph outside. So when we step out, we actually shift the focus of our camera outside. So how do we actually continue maintaining the same angle towards ourselves and to stay there in the state of bliss, even while we're interacting? Because I'll be honest, at times I slip, I forget. So when I come back, I feel, what have I done?
So this is the answer to this we have given in our second session. As I said, the method of offering to the divine, what Sri Krishna has said very clearly, yad karoshi yadashnasi, yad juhoshi dadasi yad tapasyasi kaunteya, that you do arpan to me. This he has told us in the Gita, and he has told us many times. So in the beginning, Manisha ma'am, this methodology will be a very physical methodology, very mechanical. We will do it mechanically. It will not emerge from our soul, but we have to do something mechanically and then make it a discipline. कभी याद रहेगा, कभी भूल जाएंगे, कभी खाना अर्पण करेंगे, कभी भूल जाएंगे, कभी सोना अर्पण करेंगे, कभी भूल जाएंगे, कभी उठना अर्पण करेंगे, कभी भूल जाएंगे, कभी हस्बैंड के साथ झगड़ते समय याद आएगा, अर्पण करेंगे, फिर झगड़ा करेंगे, कभी भूल जाएंगे, पर बाद में फिर अर्पण करने का हमारे पास एक अपॉर्चुनिटी. कृष्णा ने बोला अगर उस समय नहीं करो तो बाद में कर लो, कि मैंने झगड़ा किया, अब मैं आपको अर्पण करती हूँ इसका रिजल्ट. अधिकार क्या चीज पे है? कर्मण्येवाधिकारस्ते मा फलेषु कदाचन. वी हैव एन अधिकार ओनली ऑन द वर्क वी डू, नॉट ऑन द फ्रूट. तो ये बार बार मैकेनिकली करते करते ये प्रोसेस सोल से होने लग जाता है. इट बिकम्स एक अंदर की बात हो जाती है, एंड वी कैन नॉट बट डू दैट. क्योंकि धीरे धीरे जब किसी के साथ क्या होता है, किसी के साथ धागा जोड़ते हैं, कभी उसको फोन कर, कभी उसको मैसेज करते हैं, फिर वेट करते हैं वो जवाब देगा, फिर हम कभी कोशिश करके एक फोन कर लेते हैं, फिर उसके साथ दोस्ती बढ़ती है, फिर उसे कॉफी पे बुलाते हैं. इस ढंग से ईश्वर जो हमारे अंदर बैठा है उसके साथ बार बार धागा जुड़ता जाएगा. तो धीरे धीरे जिस अर्पण का जो माध्यम है, इससे हम धीरे धीरे जब उससे जुड़ते जाएंगे, he will start slipping into my consciousness, I will slip into his consciousness, and this आवागमन होते होते धीरे से the aim is to get stationed inside my psychic being, get stationed in my soul, from where we will do all our outer work. और फिर ये outer और inner अलग नहीं रह जाएगा.
What I've understood is that meditation is a thought, is on a thought.
Yes.
And you said concentration is in a space. Am I
And
right?
concentration needs is a silence. It happens after we have been able to silence our thoughts. Yes, doctor.
That means when you are concentrating, there are no thoughts.
Yes.
While you are meditating, there may be a thought.
There must be a thought.
All right, all right.
Yeah, because you develop that thought, and the process of meditation, that developing the thought, trains the mind to be able to become single pointed.
Okay.
And it stops running around like a monkey, कभी इधर गया कभी उधर गया. वो एक thought पर रखा उसको, and उस thought को develop किया. So the mind starts becoming focused.
Because this is little different than a colloquial
Yeah.
language. You say you concentrate, then you're concentrating on a particular point, like on a particular thing.
Yeah.
In your definition, the concentration is different than what we generally mean.
Yes, yes. I am only saying what I have learned in the light of Sri Aurobindo and the Mother. It has helped me greatly, yeah. So, and I tell you, these lines from Savitri that we read in the last, they're like a mantra. So I'll send them to you. I'll send these lines to you if they help you. Yeah. Yad karoshi yadashnasi, yad juhoshi dadasi yad, yat tapasyasi konteya, tat kurushva madarpanam. Shri Krishna says to Arjuna in the 9th chapter, 27th verse, whatever thou doest, whatever thou enjoyest, whatever thou sacrificest, whatever thou givest, whatever energy of tapasya, of the soul's will or effort thou puttest forth, make it an offering unto me. Whatever small, mundane, everyday routine or a big thing, whatever, everything has to become an offering unto the divine. You can call him Krishna, you can call him Allah, you can call him Christ, it matters not. Sri Aurobindo's, yes. Make of all you do, from the greatest and most unusual effort to the smallest daily act. Make of each act of your mind, each act of your heart, each act of your body, of every inner and outer turn, of every thought and will and feeling, of every step and pause and movement, a sacrifice, an offering to the master of all sacrifice and tapasya. This is from Sri Aurobindo, Essays on the Gita, page 568. Many Gitas have been written and many people have explained the Gita. But I tell you, what Sri Aurobindo has explained in his explanation in Essays on the Gita is beyond words, beyond all words. And Anil Baran Roy has made it even simpler. Yeah, we can stop sharing, ma'am. Anil Baran Roy has made it even simpler. He has come out with a book called Message on the Gita. Message on the Gita, Anil Baran Roy. So what he has done is, he's taken verse by verse and he's picked up from Essays on the Gita and written them as meanings to the every verse. And then as a footnote, he's given more details from Essays on the Gita. So just because our human mind is so programmed, it doesn't find it easy to read long essays. But when we do one verse at a time and understand what Sri Aurobindo has explained, we've done the whole Gita. Mona ma'am has been part of the whole journey. So it was very beautiful doing the Gita in the light of Sri Aurobindo, reading from Message on the Gita. So you could pick that book up. Everything's available on Amazon, or you can download these books. But the best way to understand the Gita is to just download the app from App Store called Kirit Joshi. And we have put all his lectures, all his books have been transcribed, and they're all on that what's that app, and you can hear his lectures, you can print out the transcriptions of the lectures. There is, it's one of the most beautiful explanations of the Gita that Kirit Joshi ji has done. Yeah. Yes, Joita.
We actually wanted to present you something. So,
Yes, please go ahead.
ma'am,
And
can you please share the screen? This is from Jaipuria Institute of Management Indore and JK Social Responsibility Committee. The small gesture of love which we want to present you. Thank you so much, ma'am, for all the sessions. And I would also thank all the guests who have taken out their precious time to join this session. I would also like to thank our director, sir, who has been so supportive throughout these sessions, and all the faculty members and staffs for joining in every sessions. All the students, seniors, for your presence, this session would not have been successful. Thank you so much, all.
thank you so much, Joita. It was a beautiful gift. I will cherish it forever. It was a joy addressing the students and faculty of Indore. And yes, every time I have to address, तैयारी करनी पड़ती है ना थोड़ी, ये बनाने पड़ते हैं स्लाइड शो और सब, तो इसमें मेरा बड़ा, it's really good for my growth. So thank you so much for inviting me to it. I've thoroughly enjoyed these 4 sessions with you all. फिर मिलेंगे जरूर. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Thank you everybody. Thank you.
Ma'am, this was made by our student Priyanka Gupta, and she herself had shared that she wants to present something to you.
But it was very sweetly
So
done. It was a
she,
very sweet gesture
yeah.
on the part of Priyanka.
Okay.
Thank you
Thank you so
everybody.
much,
Jai
ma'am.
Shri Krishna.
Thank you,
Thank
ma'am.
you.